Let's speak now to Adam Barron in Beirut. He's a visiting fellow at the European Council on Foreign Relations. Adam, thank you very much for your time. Now, there have been other failed attempts for a ceasefire. Fighting continues. Do you think that there is a chance of seeing this ceasefire holding?
I think this is probably the best chance there has been to stop the conflict since it started. This is the third attempted ceasefire that we've seen in Yemen. The first two failed, but you've had much greater degree of preparations for this ceasefire, particularly when compared to the first two. This is going to be a key litmus test, one, for the willingness of parties to make concessions and adhere to agreements, and then two, especially, a tremendous either confidence-building measure or confidence-losing measure ahead of the upcoming talks that are set to start on the 18th.
And with peace talks scheduled for the 18th of April, is this paving the way for a long-term agreement? Do you think that the rebels will recognise the government and hand over their weapons?
Well, I think it depends on how this goes. Obviously, if this ceasefire collapses, it certainly won't do much to pave the way to an agreement. If the ceasefire collapses in a spectacular enough way, it will set back any efforts to forge an agreement back quite substantially. I think the question, what you're going to need to have is some form of give and take, some sort of structuring of a new transitional body, and a withdrawal by the Houthis and their allied major cities. And it would seem that there's willingness to do it, but I think you have a situation where both sides in this conflict are very willing to end the conflict on their own terms. Now, finding a set of terms that's mutually acceptable to both sides, and that's speaking to key sides, that's easier said than done. And then this is without even getting into the fact that we have a number of different factions, ranging from southern secessionists to Salafi militias to Muslim Brotherhood and tribal aligned groups, all the way to Al-Qaeda and IS-alone groups that are not part of these negotiations. So the real question, too, is even if you have some sort of agreement, what's next? How do you get everybody involved? And I think for all questions that we're asking on the run-up to the trade talks.
And, negotiations have begun. They've been happening the last weeks between the Iran-backed rebels and the Saudis, things like prisoner swaps and a halt in the fighting along the Yemeni-Saudi border. What do you think a solution would look like, and how urgently is it needed in the region?
It remains to be seen what a solution would look like. I think to some extent you're going to have formation of some sort of transitional body, of some sort of unity government. You would need some way for this to preserve the legitimate government, which is now represented by Abd Mansur Hadi, but while allowing Hadi's adversaries, whether we're speaking of the Houthis or their other allies, a seat at the table.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I think when we look at Yemen...
Sorry, Adam, continue.
Oh, sorry. I think when we speak of the Yemen conflict, this is something that is wreaking a tremendous amount of destabilization in the country, or in the region. Just yesterday, there was a report by Reuters attesting to the extent that Al-Qaeda has carved out a virtual mini-state in the province of Hadramaut. This is not something that will go away in an instant. We're dealing with a situation where each day that Yemen's conflict goes on, the ultimate repercussions of this conflict grow exponentially worse. So I think it is very much in the interest of regional powers to bring this to the next stage, back on the track. It remains to be seen whether that will happen.
Certainly does remain to be seen. Okay, Adam, thank you very much for that analysis there. That's Adam Barron in Beirut on the latest for this upcoming ceasefire.